Alrighty, it is Monday. It is after hours with WriterSanctuary. I'm your host, Michael. I want to come up with some kind of opening like that, right? Anyway, it is Monday. It is time for the show. It is 7 o'clock p.m. And got some awesome news. I wrapped up the final edits to Shadows. Well, at least the final edits from AutoCrit. There were a few issues that came up. So no, I didn't notice them until after the writing sprints today, and I imported the book over to Reedsy, and yeah, that's part of what we're talking about today. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about wrapping up the book and what my next steps are from here, and what I have planned for making it all work. So, also, as we'll dive into it here in a minute. I do have Gary Kidney will be on the show next week. He's an author. He has a spy thriller from World War II. I linked it. I wrote the blog post. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, the Eagle Scout picture. From the description of it, sounds like a pretty good book, though I'm into World War II stuff, so that'll right up my alley. Probably going to wind up buying it. Anyway, so we're going to give this a moment. And she hit the mute button. I have no idea how much of that you got. Gotta be kidding me. Okay, well, maybe we should just start over. You are such a pain in the ass. This is twice now that she's hit the mute button while in the middle of talking. Anywho, I wrapped up Shadows on AutoCrit. There's issues that came up. We're going to discuss them tonight, what my next steps are with the book. Gary Kidney will be on the show next Monday. He writes the Eagle Patriot picture. It's a spy thriller from World War II, which I love World War II stuff, so that's right up my alley. And I am going to toss my cat across the house. No, I'm not going to. But she is like bugging me. You wouldn't believe. I love you. No, you stop. Don't make eye contact. That's the secret. Anyway, so we'll be talking about the book, where I plan on taking it, and what the next steps are. I've got bullet points this time. Not shooting from the hip, because usually things come off the rails pretty quickly. So, anywho, we'll give this a second to make sure that we don't get any other people that come in late, because that happens often. And I have to keep an eye out for the mute to make sure she doesn't hit the button, because it's like super sensitive. Just tapping it will mute it. So if she brushes up against the microphone, usually mutes it. But she has done this to me a couple of times now. One time I was a good 10 minutes into the show before I realized I was muted, and somebody pointed it out. Because she's so helpful. You don't want that. I promise. Yeah. No, not so much? Not into cognac? No? Didn't think so. Anywho. So how's everybody else's night going? Mine's doing alrighty. You're looking pretty good, actually. Everything's coming up Millhouse. All right, we'll just jump into it. So I transferred the book from AutoCrit to Reedsy. I did a video about it today, and there was an issue or two that arose that I completely forgot about. While in AutoCrit, I had to disable Grammarly spell checking and the what's it called? The Grammarly Chrome extension. I had to disable that because it got to the point where AutoCrit would not run with Grammarly running. I don't know if they fixed that, but it was horrible. So I disabled it, both on AutoCrit and on my computer. So that means there's a lot of spelling errors. A lot spelling errors. Because I'm so used to just typing and not having to go back and fix anything, because with the Grammarly Chrome extension, it'll go back and fix whatever you wrote as you're writing, so you never have to think about it. Well, oops, forgot about that. When I imported it into from AutoCrit to Readsy, it lit up like a Christmas tree when I turned it on. Well, I turned Grammarly on. So Diana says, "Hooray, it's the Michael show." Well, it's more like the Shadow show. My God. Anyway, will you land? So, yeah, it's spell check time. That means I have to spell check the entire book. Yay. Completely forgot about it till Sam comes in, because she's one of the beta readers, and she pointed out, like, not even 10 minutes into it, how many spelling errors there were. I'm like, oh. So I look at it. Sure enough, I turned on Grammarly. Red everywhere. Like, son of a bitch. I thought I was done. Nope. That's right. It shouldn't take me long to fix the spelling errors. A lot of it's like really stupid errors. So, for the most part, the book is done. It's just for the beta readers, those who have the link, I apologize. Ignore the spelling errors. I'm pretty sure you can get the gist of what I was writing. And I did notice that some of the spots when I was editing in AutoCrit smushed words together. And so I don't know what that was about, or if that's a bug of AutoCrit, or maybe I just forgot to put a space there when I fixed the word. So I don't know, but I'm going to go through and reformat the book. Cool thing is that when I imported it from AutoCrit's saved file, Readsy found all the chapters. It did all the indents, all the dialogue perfectly, just like it was supposed to. So it was seamless going from AutoCrit to Readsy. I just forgot to spell check. So, what does your shirt say? Chaos is my co-pilot. I don't. Yeah, you got the microphone away, but and the cat's in the way. Anyway, it says chaos is my co-pilot. Every letter's in a different font, and some of them even glow in the dark. So that is an idea for a shirt that I plan on putting on the fourth wall store for the channel. I'm still waiting on concept art from Chris, but I have an idea of some of the things I wanted to do with it. So it's his perfectly appropriate t-shirt that Sam made. Yes, it is. Chaos is my co-pilot. Huh. Sorry, I should have named you Chaos. Hey. So that's where I'm going to be doing. Cool thing about it is that I'm not having to edit anything. It's just spell checking. So I just have to go through and make sure the words are spelled right. So that shouldn't take long, especially if I use something like Readsy has a built-in spell checker. That might cut down time tremendously and just go through the entire list of words. I don't think I want to change anything that's in the book. I might tweak a few things here and there as I go through it, but the only things I'm rewriting right now are the prologue, which I rewrote, and the epilogue, which is what I want to write tomorrow. So Neil says, soon we'll be able to read it. Actually, I sent you the invite in your email, so you should be able to read and comment on it. So, yeah, Neo, Jennifer, and Sam. Oh, I should send it to Chris too. And I can send the beta reading emails, because there's two different ways to send it in Readsy. If somebody has a Readsy account, they can help you edit. They can comment on stuff. They could turn large portions of paragraphs into code. 5 minutes, not 5 minutes. It's all good. And then there's the read-only version, where all you can do is just read through. You have to scroll. You can't flip pages like you can in a normal ebook, so you have to scroll through it. And I haven't sent any of those out yet, so I will. I completely forgot because I have a couple of people that want to read it, um, that don't necessarily have Readsy to edit or comment, so I have to send those out. I forgot. But it's okay because it needs spell checking. So, man, I was so excited. I thought I was done. Like, God. And some of the words were like really messed up. Like, I don't even think Grammarly would have picked it up or would have fixed it. It would have just redlined it. Anyway, so while I was writing this book, editing, AutoCrit was an exceptionally useful tool. The AI for it only highlights problematic areas that it finds that are based on linguistics. So, like the difference between showing and telling, there's certain words that you use for both, and it'll highlight those in in instances of where you would want to reread it. You don't want to change everything that an automated system gives you because sometimes you use certain words for context or for nuance or to accentuate a scene. And so you don't want to try to aim for a perfect 100 score across everything because that would just, it would look like an IKEA manual and you don't want that. So um, always take what Grammarly, ProWriting Aid, AutoCrit, all those platforms, always take what they suggest with a grain of salt because um, if everybody wrote exactly how their AIs want you to, everybody would be the exact same. There would be no differentiation between two authors. So sometimes style accounts for something. The way you put words together. And yeah. So always make sure that it's logical compared to what you want to convey before you change anything. And so that's why I didn't get a perfect score. I think on the thumbnail it shows my scores from AutoCrit. But I'm not trying for a perfect score. I just wanted it to be legible. So there was a lot of things I had to change though. A lot of things that pointed out that I looked at and like, oh yeah, that makes way more sense. So AutoCrit by itself was a great tool. I mostly like it because the AI does not write anything for you. It just highlights the problem areas. So you have to go through and fix it. So AutoCrit is a great tool. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about spending $180 a year on it, but for what it is and what it has, it's got quite a bit to it. You also have access to the community stuff. There's courses you can take, free courses that you can take. So there's a lot to AutoCrit outside of just being an editing tool. And I love data. So to see my score stack up against Stephen King, it makes me giggle. And like I've said before, I don't necessarily compare myself to Stephen King. There's a big difference. But I like the idea that he only works on 2,000 words a day, and I do that before breakfast. So, of course, I'm also blogging and writing for clients and stuff. So, completely different context. But it's just funny. You can, and something else you want to keep in mind is AutoCrit judges you based on word choices and formatting, not for how well the story's put together. So, you can still write a shit story and still have a perfect score. So, gotta keep that in mind as well. But overall, I like AutoCrit. It's handy. It's kind of fun, especially if you love numbers and data like I do. And some of its AI-driven idea tools, kind of questionable, but it made me giggle a couple of times because I'd end it after a certain chapter and then just out of fun ask the AI, so how will the story progress from this point? And it comes up with some off the wall stuff. A couple of times though, it came up with exactly how the story was going to unfold. So that was kind of neat. But some of them were just off the wall. So AI is not perfected. That is for damn sure. Still, uh, AI tools like that can go through a manuscript wicked fast and find all kinds of problematic areas that you can fix. So that's one of the best things about it. I'm not familiar with AutoCrit, so it could replace a professional editor? No. Um, AutoCrit, like I said, will go after logical word choices and stuff. It doesn't take into consideration nuance and context. So, whereas a human editor would. There's a big difference between a human reading a manuscript and a bot reading a manuscript. AutoCrit's only looking for certain types of words that convey telling instead of showing, or it'll find if you use if you repeat a phrase so many times, it highlights like you don't want to repeat this phrase every other word, which was something that Tom Bromley from Reedsy, when I took the master class, he pointed out, and there were a few times in the manuscript that he read for me where he pointed out that there were a couple times where I would use the same word almost immediately later, like in the next sentence. And so um, that was one of the cool things about AutoCredit is that it'll find that. And so when it comes to word choices and logical formatting, AutoCredit's great, but it's still not going to have that human element of knowing how a story is unfolding or the feeling of like if you're repeating a phrase to accentuate a scene. AutoCrit doesn't care about that. It just detects that you use the same type of layout 3 times in a row, and it'll highlight that. So you don't want to mess with that because you did that on purpose. Whereas a human editor would realize that. So, okay, that's good. That means my job will still exist. Oh yeah, editors are not infallible, but they will pick up a lot of nuances that AI never will. So that's one of the reasons. Like, if you have the money to get a human editor, that's better. AutoCrit is great to polish up a story, especially if you before you give it to a human editor. But if you don't have the funding, then you gotta do with what you got. And AutoCrit for $180 a year as opposed to $4,000, it'll make a big difference in your story. So, but yeah, human editors will always be better overall. The problem with the human editor, though, is that if they're not interested in the story, you're going to get a poor result. So you're, again, writing for an audience of one, hoping that they're not going to butcher your story and want you to change it. Plus, a lot of them will bring their own political views into stuff. And so if you don't have certain elements in your story that are sociably acceptable today, they're going to point it out and want you to remove it, change it, add it. I know. I will write the story I want to tell. And so that's something else you have to keep in mind about human editors. They're better for the nuance and the feeling behind the story, but again, you have to please them. So, excuse me. I am editing my first book manuscript, and it's made me realize how many things you need to check for. It takes a lot of brain power. Yes, even with just AutoCrit, there's a lot of things it highlights. That's another thing about AutoCrit that I liked, is that there's a ton of different reports from showing versus telling, the pacing of your book, repeat phrases. What's another one? Repeated words. Like repeat phrases is a big one, because if you use a certain 3 to 4 word phrase like all the time in your book, it's going to get redundant and people will get bored of it. So you want to keep an eye on those. AutoCrit will find those. What else was there? I can just open it. I'm looking right at it. So if we go back to the main page, we have the analysis, which is the fiction analyzer, nonfiction analyzer, summary report, and the combination report. Pacing, it'll look for sentence variation, pacing of your words, paragraph variation, and chapter variation. Dialogue, how much dialogue is in it, the dialogue tags that you use, adverbs in dialogue, which a lot of people don't like. I use fewer than Stephen King does, but adverbs in dialogue, that's how humans talk. So I like I said before, when I write dialogue, I read it out loud. If it makes sense or if it makes me cringe, I will rewrite it. And as a human, I use a lot of adverbs in my language. So that I don't pay too much attention to because that's how people talk. strong writing. But they also point out something else I want to point out in adverbs is a lot of it is not necessarily the way that people talk, but also in the actions after your dialogue tag. He said, hesitantly looking at the screen. So hesitantly would be an adverb. So you don't want to use too many of those, but if it makes sense, use them. I'm not anti-adverb. Strong writing is adverbs, passive indicators, tense consistency, showing versus telling. Cliches is another good one. Redundancies, big on that. And unnecessary filler words. Those you'd want to go through with a fine-tooth comb, but also keep in mind that sometimes you use filler words for nuance and to accentuate a scene. So, like I said, always read before you change anything. You might not want to change it. Initial pronoun and names. This is for word choices. Sentence starters, POV consistency, generic descriptions, personal words and phrases. That's a good one. Power words. If you want to get into the psychological aspect of writing a book, power words is a good one to go through. Repetition, another one that I used a lot. Repeated words, word frequency, phrase frequency. Readability, which is the flesh reading e-score, but it also has readability statistics, which bases it off of, I'm going to look it up here. I know that flesh reading ease is one of them. And then they also have scores for, that's Flesh Kincaid, the Sposh, then Sear Wright, lexical diversity, and then the general statistics of your words versus how many characters are in them and so whatnot. I tend to write on the easier level, so my scores usually range between 75 and 80, which is pretty much anybody can read it. Well, I can't say that. Probably about 6th grade and up. So, but I've been doing that. Part of that is because it's baked in from being a freelancer, because I had to write at an 8th grade reading level for most clients when I was working for writing for text broker. And so I learned very early to write as easy as possible. Then you have complex words, report. Inspiration is where some of the AI stuff comes in. So like what happens next, that's what I was talking about earlier, where the story would just go off on a random tangent. Sometimes the AI would actually go along the lines of how I was writing the story in the first place, which is kind of neat. Or it can change the mood, which means you can go from a horror and then just change it to a kid lit. Some of those AI tools are kind of fun to mess with. I would never use them because it's I like being creative myself. I never get writer's block, and so I love the flow of stuff. But they are kind of fun just to mess around with. And then as the publishing aspect. Still, my whole point is that there are a lot of reports in AutoCrit that do quite a bit. So, and I think I covered all of them, at least most of them, in a video when I first got AutoCrit. So, not sure what video it's there. It's in the channel. But remember, when you go through those reports, you don't want to change every single thing because there's words that you used for a reason. So let's see: grammar, punctuation, word choice, repeat phrases, sentence structure, clarity, logical order, etc. Yeah. Michael, what do you mean by personal words and phrases? Okay, so let me go back to get out of it. Where was that? Was that word choices? Yes, personal words and phrases. So here's some examples. It's running the report right now. Before, the report, I think, was just repeat phrases or something else. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but this is relatively new how they have it. But apparently have 0. So I'm not sure what personal words were. What was the ones was it repetition? Maybe it was phrase frequency is the one I was thinking of, because that's there. But personal words and phrases, I don't have any, so I don't know what's that for. In fact, when I compare to Stephen King, he has 0. So I don't know exactly what that is for Reedsy or for AutoCrit. But I'm fairly sure phrase frequency was the one that I was thinking of. I might have thought that was it. So maybe I was wrong on that one. Hold on. I'm running a report on phrase frequency. I would show you, but I don't want anybody to read the manuscript yet. You want to read it? Buy the book. It's just good marketing. Holy crap, it's taking a minute. Yeah, anyway. So that's, yeah. Anyway, that's AutoCrit. AutoCrit, great tool. Okay, so here's one. I've used the Haddon House 20 times. That's a 3-word phrase, the Haddon House. That is a hotel that's in the book, Shadows of Atlantic City, and it's actually quite an important part of the story. So obviously, there's going to be 20 uses of it throughout the entire book. To the Outpost, the Poacher's Pistol. A lot of these are, I like to call no shit phrases because they're part of the book. So when you go through them, you don't want to like take out all because that's just going to ruin it. But sometimes there are going to be some phrases in there. Like there was some. Yeah, see, I don't have many more. There was some that were on this list that were like way off base. It's like, what the hell was I writing? So I changed all those. But a lot of these are part of the book. So you don't want to change something that's actually part of the book. And that would be my son coming down the stairs like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Right. Interesting, Michael. Thanks for explaining that. AutoCrit seems like a great tool. Yes, AutoCrit is a great tool. I like it a lot. They used to have an affiliate program, but I can't get signed up with it. I think I have to email them directly or something, but I'm still going to promote it because I use it. Anyway. So that's where that's at. I did all that in AutoCrit, moved it over to Reedsy, and found out that I have to spell check everything. So, yay! Guess what I'm doing tomorrow during writing sprint? It's still readable by my beta readers, but I have to let them know that I fucked up. So that is the only thing that I didn't like about AutoCrit is that I use the Grammarly Chrome extension for just about everything because it's great. It spell checks and fixes most words as I'm writing, so I never have to backspace. Um, and then AutoCrit has Grammarly built into it. Well, as soon as either one of them are enabled, it made AutoCrit run to the point to where I can use it. Like I would click on my cursor on a word and it would take literally longer than a minute for it to highlight. And it's like, that's not going to happen. Once I disabled Grammarly on both AutoCrit and on Chrome, worked great after that. Now, I don't know if they fixed that. That was a couple of months ago, so that might have been fixed by now. But I didn't want to chance it. So now I have to go through and fix all the spelling errors. And that's okay, because Reedsy has a built-in spell checker too, so. Alrighty, next up is giving the book a good once-over for formatting and layout. That's what's next on the book. I want to make sure that all of the scene breaks are where they're supposed to be because some of them got deleted. And I think I want to play around with using my graphic that I made. I did a video on how to add an image as a scene break. So I'm going to try to play around with that graphic and see if I can get it to work right in the book. If it does, then I'll use it. But I'll be spending time washing up the formatting. Then, after that, I'm going to be diving into the book cover. I wanted to do that tomorrow, but I have to spell check. So, spell checking shouldn't take me very long, though. Like, I don't see me changing a lot in the book. It's a pretty solid story now after all the editing. So, I'm just going to probably just run the spell check on it just to make sure everything's spelled right. Of course, not all spell checkers are accurate either, so I'm gonna have to go through, and probably better if I just read the book and fix words as I go. Oh well, getting closer anyway. Well, by Wednesday, I should be working on the book cover. But I've decided, I got some ideas what I want to do. I decided I want to rip off the Smithsonian. There's Creative Commons of some drawings of Atlantic City of that time era. So I'm going to incorporate that into the book cover, and have something special to add to it. Probably one of those things where you have to look closely in order to see what it is. I don't know, like stuff like that. So, but I have some ideas. It shouldn't take me very long to put one together. Then once the cover is done and I've gone over feedback from the beta readers, I'll prep it to be published. Like I said in the video today, I think I'm going to publish it directly from Reedsy. I did want to use Atticus, but I want to get this book out, and I don't have a lot of experience using Atticus yet, so I don't want to try to spend the next 3 months figuring out everything I want to do with it. So I think I want to use something like Despair to format, format Despair in Atticus, because I plan on putting it out as a free book. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna use Reedsy this time again. That's how I used Reedsy to publish Kingmaker. So and it came out great. But that means I want to be running another giveaway for both YouTube channel and the blog. I didn't get to do a giveaway for Kingmaker, and I feel kind of like I lost out. So I feel like we're going to do a giveaway, probably autographed copies, and I would love to do another giveaway for Barnes & Noble. I think last time I gave away a $150 gift certificate. I think it was $150. Might have been just one. I can't remember. It was a while ago. So we're gonna add all kinds of pomp and circumstance and hoopla for Shelves at Atlantic City. This is a big book, an important book, and it is, yeah. Like I love Kingmaker. I still think Kingmaker is an awesome story, but Shadows is definitely written well, way better. That's because I was writing it during that masterclass, and I learned so much from that Reedsy masterclass. And so that all got incorporated into Shadows. Whereas Kingmaker was shot from the hip, so to speak. And I do plan on writing what do I call it? It's going to be a remastered book after the series is done. I'm going to rewrite Kingmaker altogether, and I think that'd be awesome. So we'll have to see how that goes. Anywho, yeah, I feel like it's time to do another giveaway for the channel and the YouTube channel and the blog. So wait, are you changing the prologue? I already did. Prologue has already been changed. I didn't really change that much of it. I just some of the writing of the prologue kind of made me a little, yeah. So I rewrote the prologue first thing today. When I moved it over, that was actually I wrote the prologue during the writing sprint, and I think it came out much better than it was originally. Yeah. Did you read the prologue yet, Neo? Is that because I thought the prologue was great that I did today. So I'm reading it now, which is why I asked. Yeah. The prologue's already been redone, so I'm going to rewrite the epilogue for a good reason, because someone's suggestion made way more sense, and then my imagination took over. So now I know what I'm doing for the prologue, or for the epilogue. Sorry. I'm excited about reading the remaster of Kingmaker. Yeah, that's I'm pretty excited to write it. Like, the story of Kingmaker is still going to be the same, but the writing is going to be night and day. That's because I learned so much, and by the time I redo Kingmaker, I will have got my master's degree. So there's going to be a vast difference. Hey, Chris is here. I thought, why would he change it? Yeah, that's well, I would like I changed it during the writing sprint. It's similar to what it was originally, but the prologue, I don't know, there was just it didn't sit right with me. So I rewrote it in that last round during the writing sprint today. That's when I rewrote the prologue, and I don't know, I think it came out better. So the epilogue is going to be way different. I'm with Neo. It was amazing. Yeah, well, thank you. Um, yeah, I think it came out way better. So that's the fun of editing. I mean, you don't want to over edit. I think I did some over editing, so I'm really looking forward to hearing you guys' feedback. That's one of my biggest worries. Excuse me. But looking forward to reading Shadows 2.0. If you had a Readsy account, I could have sent it to you today, but I will send it to you today, tonight actually. I'll send, because the beta readers who have Readsy accounts can leave comments on it, but not everybody does. And so the people who don't, I'm going to send them the link to Shadows today. So I'm not being biased, but I love the prologue. Well, thank you. Sure, you're not being biased. I think I accidentally skipped the prologue. Accidentally. Yeah, like I accidentally skip it every time, right? No, but yeah, I think it just the original prologue just I don't know, it's kind of and so I decided to give it a once over and it came out way better. So I'm like, cool. The epilogue though, that hasn't been done yet, so don't read the epilogue yet. I have a Readsy. It's my email. Okay, and that's the one that I have, right? The email address. And I will send you a link. I didn't know that you had a Readsy account, so now it just started me to the Powhatan. See? Yeah, you skipped the prologue. So there's a little page on the left there that says prologue. That's like at the very beginning of the book. And yes, the Powhatan was a real ship. I did a lot of research on this one. This was a lot of fun to write. Not only did I love the story, but I loved the research that went behind it, like learning the different articles of clothing, the Powhatan. I got to read a lot about the Powhatan and how it sank. Gave me all kinds of ideas for future stories, that's for sure. But it was a lot of fun. I think one of the things I want to do to promote my book at some point this year is probably go to Atlantic City, pose in front of the Absecon lighthouse with the book, because the lighthouse is still there. And the lighthouse is actually featured quite a bit in the book. So I don't think anything else is there though. The Haddon House was real at one point, and it got renamed to something else. I can't remember what offhand. Keep in mind I wrote this last year, so I can't remember what the Haddon House was renamed to. I don't even think the original building is still there. I think they tore it down to build one of the casino hotels. But the Haddon House was real. So there was a lot of fun writing this book. So or maybe it's my name. I don't know. I never used it for anything, but I just logged in, so I guess I ain't lying. All right. I will send you. I'll send you the link. And then with Reedsy's collaboration, you're able to leave comments, edit, write, change, and turn things into code. Please just leave comments. I will fix everything else. Just highlight stuff and leave a comment. That'd be great. Don't highlight entire paragraph and turn it to HTML. Somebody did that today. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. Do you feel sad to say goodbye to your characters when you need to work on something else? No, because they're going to be there. I plan on writing a Christmas book, remember? Well, everybody's reading Shadows, and I get the book cover done. I'm going to turn my attention back to Fury. Fury is almost done. It's at 95,000 words. Probably needs about another 2 weeks for the writing. It was like almost done when I stopped. And so it'll probably take a little longer because I want to reread it to remember where I was. But Fury was just about done. And so once Fury's done, beta readers get to read that like almost immediately. And then while they're reading that, I'm going to work on 7 on Wattpad and finish that off finally. And then move on to Skeletal, that's on Inkitt. That way I can have all of my projects out there in the world completed. Could be all kinds of cool. Cool. I'm gonna F that shit up. That's what backups are for. I've got plenty of backups. So if anybody screws anything up, don't worry. Reedsy does have a way to go back in time to fix it. And if somebody accidentally fucks up something royal, I can just upload the original. So I do have backups everywhere. I got the backup on AutoCrit. I got the backup on my computer. I got the backup on Reedsy. Got the time machine in Reedsy. And I think that's it. Oh, I got this and the original draft. So unless you can delete 3 different platforms, my computer included, you're not going to fuck anything up. So it's all good. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting back to Fury. But I'm not sad to say goodbye. I don't feel like I'm saying goodbye. It's more of right now they're on the way home. And in 1874, it took an awful long time to get from Atlantic City back to Denver. So by the time they realistically would have got home and get back to working on the next book. I feel more bad about Fury because I haven't. The Witcham Chronicles is something else, and that one I really want to get back to writing. It's way darker than Shadows. Shadows is more. It's a dark western, but Shadows is more lighthearted. Shadows is more like supernatural meets Wild Wild West meets what do I say? Sherlock Holmes. Witcham Chronicles, on the other hand, are like dark in comparison, and so I really like the Witcham Chronicles. So I need to get back to writing it. Future me, thanks you for saying that. I didn't want to mess anything up. No worries. You can't. You really can't mess anything up. Worst case scenario, I can always go back in time on Reedsy and it'll correct anything that got jacked up. And like I said, I have the original on my computer, so I can just slap it back up. No worries. So there's no way you guys can actually break it. I've got redundancy plans upon redundancy plans. Because I'm a writer, I'm a professional writer, and I've been doing it for over a decade. Of course I have backups. Backups upon backups. You learn your lesson. I can't tell you the number of times that Google Chrome has saved my ass because of a blog post that crashed. And Chrome was like, here you go. Like, yes. So, but yeah, after being a writer for so long, you start learning the value of backups. So, there's no way you guys can screw it up. The worst thing that'll happen is that I have to redo the spell check. And like I said, I think I'm just going to feed it. I'm going to try using Reedsy's spell check. Oh, here we go. That would be a great video. How well does Reedsy's spell check fix stuff? Considering how this one's all messed up. So when the beta readers do get to read it, there are a lot of spelling errors because I had to disable Grammarly. And when I'm writing really fast, I don't think of going back and erasing it because Grammarly usually catches up and does it for me. And so when I'm writing, I know I messed up a word, but I'm just keep going. And so I have to go through and fix that. So just remember, if you see a word that is really messed up, it's on the list. After being a writer on Textbooker for 30 minutes, I learned to have backups, right? That's what I'm saying. We started off as freelancers on Textbroker. You learn the value of a backup. I used to write everything in for a while there. I was actually using a closed uh, a closed WordPress site. Like nobody could access it. I put a password on the root hub or the root folder and everything that stored all the articles I wrote for clients. And so I would use Yoast SEO because that helps me learn how to write um, better, actually. Yoast is what taught me all about the flesh reading e-score and how to structure words and sentences to where anybody can read them. Because when I first started, I got dinged by Textbroker that I was too clinical. So it was like reading an IKEA manual on Xanax. And so using Yoast helped me learn how to write at a level to where everybody can read it. And so I would use Yoast in WordPress. And I think I've made a video about it, how I would use WordPress to write the articles. And so I'd copy all of them from WordPress and paste them over to Textbroker. And in WordPress, back in the day, it was really easy to switch to HTML version and just copy the HTML version, which is what Textbroker uses. Copy the HTML version from WordPress, slap it right into Textbroker, good to go. And so I always had a backup saved on the web. So that actually saved me a couple times from clients who didn't want to pay or said that I wrote something that I didn't. And so I had to deal with a couple of instances like that. But it was really handy having that WordPress backup. That was a tangent. Anywho, so that's where the book's at. Wrapping it up now, I would be working on spell checking tomorrow. Hopefully the book cover. But I got some really good ideas for the book cover, so that's probably not going to take me very long. Hardest part about doing the book cover though is I've never done this before, so I'm gonna have to estimate the dimensions of the book cover because I'm not just doing just the face. I love the wraparounds like with Kingmaker, or actually with all my books. Like I don't just do the face; the whole image wraps around the entire book, and so I want to do that with shadows because I done it with Kingmaker, done it with Freelancer's Tale. I'm gonna do it with all of them, and so I need to. I know there's websites out there that show you how to configure the dimensions depending on the number of pages you have. So probably gonna do a blog post and video about that. That's gonna be the hardest part. Everything else is pretty easy. I've been using Photoshop since 1995. That's not an exaggeration. That's when Dad got it. So I've been toying around with Photoshop forever. Back when it was 5.0. I can't remember if Photoshop was 5.0 or if that was Illustrator. One of them was 3.0, one of them was 5.0. It might have been Illustrator 5.0 and Photoshop 3.0. Fuck, I can't remember. Give me a break. That was 30 years ago. Aldous PageMaker. I remember that one. So I used Aldous PageMaker a lot too back in the day. I'd write short stories on Dad's computer, his old Apple Power Mac with its whole 8 megs of RAM. I was screaming back then. Now I have 64 gigs in my machine. Anyway, so yeah, that's but as for feeling sad to say goodbye to my characters, no, because it's not goodbye. It's I'll see you soon because I'm not done with them by a damn sight. So, in fact, I think there's probably going to be as many books for the Shadow series as there are for Witcham, because Witcham series is going to be 4, and then I have the 3 that are on Wattpad. They're kind of interconnected. Yep, you'd have to read them, but so technically there'd be 7, probably more because I plan on expanding on the world of Witcham, because Witcham is just a small city on this big ass planet, and so I plan on doing way more with it, with different characters, different creatures, And so there's going to be a lot more books to the Witcham Chronicles. But with the Shadows books, I think I have 7 planned out. 7 books in total. The next one's going to be featured here in Denver because I've always wanted to do a dark Christmas tale. So I even got the theme music planned for it and everything. In fact, depending on how well Shadows does on the market and how well it's received, I might see if the creator of the song that I'm using will let me use it in a promo video for the book. So let's see how much money he wants for that. But so yeah, I've got all kinds of cool things rolling around in my head. Anyway, anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about finishing the book? Yeah, I didn't kill off nearly as many important characters in this one as I did before. Feel like I'm losing my touch. I have to kill people. Don't ever get attached to anybody. Yeah, now that I think of it, I don't think any main characters die in Fury either. I don't know. Maybe they will. Now I have to go back and kill somebody. Now I have a Gatling gun. Yep. Now I have a machine gun. Oh, oh, oh. It's a Christmas movie. But I've always wanted to write a dark Christmas tale. So I guess it would be along the lines of Die Hard. It's not necessarily a Christmas story. It just takes place at Christmas. Christmas plays a big role in it. So Denver will be just as much as a Christmas movie as Die Hard. And yes, I'll call it a Christmas book. In fact, the song that I want to use for it is the epic version of Carol of the Bells. And I even have the whole trailer in my head, like I do all the time anyway, to that song. So I really want to get in touch with the creator of that song and make sure it's okay to use it, because I would pay quite a bit to use it in a trailer, just the way it's going to play off in my head. So yeah, I'd rather you didn't kill the characters I'm falling for. Oh, you all, no, I can't say it. No, spoilers. Gotta be good. Let's just say that don't hold your breath. I don't think I don't think I think, like I said, Shadows is much lighter than Witcham. Um Kingmaker was dark. Fury is super dark. Um like dark. There were times when I was writing Fury where I was thinking to myself, what's wrong with me? Um so in comparison, Shadows, the Dark Westerns are way more lighthearted than the fantasy books. I wouldn't say they were more fun, but they were more. There was I don't know. I thought there was more of a lighthearted comic feel to them. Kind of like how I don't know if anybody's here has watched Wild Wild West with Will Smith, or Supernatural is another good one. I love Supernatural. Um, but it was more. It's dark, but it has a lighthearted side to it. Whereas Kingmaker and Fury are just. There's funny parts in both books. Like there's some lines in Fury that make me giggle every time I think about them. So there's some good stuff in Fury, but Shadows was just not nearly as dark. So I've seen both. Okay, so yeah, it'd be like Supernatural if it was a Western, I guess, set in 1874. So it has dark tendencies to it, but more fun. So yeah, Def, Lighthearted, Wild Wild West, and Sherlock. Yeah, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. vibes. I'm telling you, I love Sherlock. I love RDJ as Sherlock Holmes. I do like Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes, but I think for me, for what I like from Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. just did better. Just hit better for me. It's just, I don't know. I'm an Iron Man fan. What can I say? Actually, I don't think there's a Robert Downey Jr. movie that he's been in that I didn't like. Even when he was on Ally McBeal for a brief stint, I liked his part in that too. So ever since, here we go. Ever since Weird Science, I've been a Robert Downey Jr. fan. And I don't know, I loved Sherlock. Anyway, now I'm fangirling over him. Oh, I just binged Cumberbatch's series this week, but yeah, I am an RDJ fan too. C was close second though. Yes, I do like Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes. He's more psychotic. And I do like Watson that's in that one too. The actor that plays Watson, he's a lot of fun. I like him. But yeah. So that's what I was going for. I was going for something that was fun. So that's why it was more of a Wild Wild West meets Sherlock Holmes meets Supernatural. It's more lighthearted, more fun. It's still, there's some gruesome parts in it because it's a dark Western, but it's not nearly as dark as the other books. I don't know if you'd still want to let your 9-year-old read it, but of course I can't really say much. I read Stephen King when I was 12. Like I still have that one right there. That is Night Shift by Stephen King. It's a series, it's an anthology of stories. That was the first Stephen King book I ever read. That original copy. Dad had it, and Dad was a big Stephen King fan. He had all of Stephen King's books. So I thought, who is this guy? I want to read it. Read that book, fell in love with the style and the storytelling to it and the darkness to it. So fast forward about 25 years later, Dad's putting this book on a table for a yard sale, and I see it. And I'm like, hell no. So I yoinked it, stole it from him. I told him I was stealing it. Didn't pay for it. But I took it. That is the book that I read when I was 12 from Stephen King. And that is one of my prized books that are on my shelf. Unfortunately, I don't have the original of The Stand. I think he's actually sold that one. But yeah. Anywho, that was random. So there we go. Well, that's what's next. We got working on the spell checking. I'm going to be working on the cover. Then we're going to be moving on to doing another giveaway for both YouTube channel and the blog. Like last time, I just did the blog. I think this time we're going to involve YouTube, mostly because I have 3,020 some odd followers now, or subscribers. I don't know, 3,000 something. But we're going to go ahead and run, I think, 2 separate giveaways, one for YouTube, one for the blog. Of course, I want to put a stipulation that you can only win one or the other. But it's going to be, I was thinking of an autographed copy of Shadows and maybe a $50 gift card to Barnes & Noble. I don't have a lot of money this time around. Like last time I gave away a $150 gift card. This time maybe $50. You can still get quite a bit from Barnes & Noble for $50. And an autographed copy of Shadows of Atlantic City. So I think that's going to be where we're going to go with it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Going to be good times. And we are so close to getting Shadows out on the shelf. I'm excited. Okay, so I guess if nobody has any more questions, we can jump into our card for the week, because I completely forgot to post last week's because I suck. Okay, last week's card was: whenever I'm at a loss for words, I think about when I was first inspired to write and focus on touching someone else in that same way. And I wanted to add that because I was going to take it a whole different direction. But I didn't, because I suck. Okay, so this week's daily affirmation is, drumroll please, writing is a skill that others long for. That's actually really true. You don't suck at happens? Yeah. Happens all too often. This week's card is writing is a skill that others long for. I am grateful that it comes easily to me. There you go, Jennifer. I have the power to create greater worlds with the mighty stroke of my pen. Man, do all of these have like a sexual innuendo at the bottom of it? Or is that just me being in the gutter? Anyway, again, writing is a skill that others long for, which is true. There's a lot of people out there that would love to write, but can't. And there's some people that shouldn't. I'm not saying that to be rude, but there are some people out there that do need more education. And I believe that everybody can learn. Just depends on how far you want to take it. Nobody wakes up one day and is Stephen King. Even Stephen King had to go through crap to get there. So, derailed, struck a big boy. We are so 12. Yeah, aren't we all? I get to reach out to the Night City so you can forget anything for the next 4 weeks. All right. Just keep in mind that when you're reading it, there's going to be a lot of spelling errors. I'm working on it. Anyway, one last time. Writing is a skill that others long for. I am grateful that it comes to me easily, or easily comes to me. Wow. Let me try that again. Writing is a skill that others long for. I am grateful that it comes easily to me. I have the power to create greater worlds with a mighty stroke of my pen. And it's true. I know one person in particular who gave up on writing almost immediately because they rated him as an average writer. And instead of perfecting his skill and learning how to write better, he gave up and said, fuck it, and moved on. And I think shortly after that, he became a greeter at Walmart. And that's kind of a sad story. I got rated an average writer and decided I wanted to see how far I could take it. And here I am. So just because in the beginning you don't think you have skill, or somebody doesn't like your writing, or you get negative reviews, doesn't mean they have to shit can your whole idea of being a writer. This means you got to learn to perfect your skill. I didn't wake up one day and become a star on Text Broker. That took me 2.5 years before I got to the point where Text Broker's managers were sending me jobs through email directly. I didn't even have to open Text Broker. That's how awesome I was. But that wasn't overnight. I had to bust ass to get there. So if you're in the beginning stages, don't give up. Keep working, keep practicing. My biggest thing is practice, practice, practice. Practice everywhere. Write on Wattpad, write on Inkitt, write on social media. Do the writing prompts on Twitter. Do 6-word stories that come up on Twitter all the time. I've done some amazing 6-word stories. But the point is that no one wakes up a bestseller. You're not going to be a best-selling author from the first book. Your first book is going to be your worst book because you get better as time goes on. So don't give up. Just know that you have a long way to go and keep walking the path. Anywho, I'll keep that in mind. Writing doesn't come easy for me, but I'm working on it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, some people, like with me, yes, I don't suffer from writer's block. Ideas seem to flow out of me like a river, but I wasn't always that way. It took a long time before I pieced together my style and what I enjoy and how my brain works. And so it wasn't something I just snapped. It was something I had to work at. And so if it doesn't come easy to you now, doesn't mean it never will. It just means you have to work at it. You haven't found your groove. That's all it means. It's out there. You just gotta find it. Anywho, I think I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. It is 8:04. If unless anybody has any more questions, comments, concerns, I will try to remember to get this up on the community tab. I'm also trying to be more active on the community tab as well. Don't forget that I will have Gary Kidney on next Monday. We're going to be talking about his book, and he is quite an educated individual. He has taught professors and students, and he has 2 masters and a bachelor's, and his first book is the Eagle Scout, picture, and it's a spy thriller set in World War II. I love that kind of shit, so I'm probably gonna wind up buying that book and put it on my T-bar pile. But from what I read of it, it looks like it'd be pretty good. And he's working on his next book, which is a sequel to it, but how the Cold War started. So he'll be on the show next Monday at 7. Blog post about that is already live on WriterSanctuary.com. And if you are an author that has at least one book published, reach out to me. Use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com for author interviews. I can get you scheduled in. And actually, I have another one too, but she's in Sweden. So we're trying to figure out the logistics and time. With her, I don't think I'm going to be able to do a live interview because 7 o'clock to me is like 2 o'clock her time AM, or it's like way off. And so we'll probably just do a pre-recording of it and then do a live preview. Maybe that way I can comment and stuff while during the interview. But I'm trying to figure out how to get all that to work right. So I don't know. We'll figure that out. And then I have one scheduled for August. So my time is open from May through. So use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com's website. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit me up on social media on Twitter-ish, Facebook, maybe, Threads, definitely, Instagram, almost certainly, YouTube, definitely. I think that's all I'm trying to get active on Blue Sky too, but I mean, I think I'm going to trade activity on Blue Sky for Twitter. The only things that I've got 2 people on Twitter now that like my stuff that are real. It's Sam and some writing group. I can't remember their name offhand, but most of it is porn bots. I'm like, I'm just done. Twitter is such a dumpster fire now. So I might just dump Twitter and just focus on Blue Sky and see how that goes. But I'm definitely more active on Threads and Instagram and YouTube. YouTube, I'm on all day. So leave a comment on any video. I'm going to respond to it almost immediately. Don't forget that Freelancer's Tale and Kingmaker, both of my books, are available on Amazon in paperback and ebook format. Kingmaker is available in hardcover. And as soon as I get some time set together, I'm also going to be setting it up on Barnes & Noble and contacting them to see what I can do to get my book in the store, especially when it comes to shadows. So Sam says, I'm a real boy. Fuck. What is wrong with you people? Anyway, yeah. So there we go. Have a good evening. Thank you for hanging out. And don't forget, interview next week. I'll be on the writing sprint tomorrow at 10:30. Doing some spell checking. But at least we're moving in the right direction. All right. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.